Hey guys, how's my audio? Are you able to hear me? Hey Eric, hey No Front Brakes, how's it going? Audio is good. Sweet. Paul the Punter from one live stream to another. Mountain biker that bikes. Hey, how's it going? It's going good, mountain biker. Cobra Kyle. Oh, sounds crisp. Nice. Yeah, Mr. Tonka 20K. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. Sweet. How's the new bike? Carson Voss asks, how's the new bike? It's good. As you can see, it's right there. Kind of got it crooked up on the couch. Yeah, it's good so far. It's been a little bit of an adjustment from 29 for sure. Like the first thing I noticed was like way lower on the front end. I was like, whoa, this is like super low. So one of the first things I did was raise the bars up a lot more. And yeah, it definitely doesn't roll over stuff as well, but it's got a ton of travel. Thanks, Raphael. Hey, dude, love the channel. Just checking in. Thanks, Raphael. Cheers on the 20K. Thanks, tag along MTB. Jack Charlton, what made you buy and build up the Nomad? Well, I wanted to get back on Santa Cruz because my past Santa Cruzes have been super reliable, and the Evil had a couple issues, so I wasn't like, you know, like if you watch the bike check, the rear tire would hit the seat tube, which was kind of like I wasn't too stoked on that. So yeah. What's your day job, or what did you do before YouTube Stardom? Says Sean. My day job, I work in video games. So basically, I'm an artist, and I make like buildings and backgrounds, and I used to make characters as well in video games. So before we get into this, where's everybody from? Ben asks, what's your most favorite trail you have ever ridden? Well, that's interesting question. There's a trail in Queenstown, New Zealand called Rude Rock, and that trail really left an impression on me. Like it's one of the best flow trails I've ever ridden. Jack from Port Moody, California. Cobra Kyle from San Antonio. Freeride North Coast. Costa Rica, San Francisco, New Jersey. Nelson, BC. Oh no, are you coming to Nelson, BC? You must be from Nelson, BC. I think I'm going to come this summer. I have a friend that just moved to Nelson, and Nelson is one of my favorite places to ride. So I really want to head over to Nelson this summer. Williams Lake is awesome. I love the vibe there. Like the dudes are so chill at the bike shop at Red Shreds, Florida. Mr. Tonka. Hey, you got some cool stuff in Florida for sure. Would you ride against Casey Brown? I think Casey Brown would beat me. She's really fast, actually. And actually, I have a friend, Trevor May. You've probably seen him in a few videos. We're probably about the same speed, and he's like, yeah, I can't keep up with Casey Brown. She's so fast. Do you have any suggestions for buying a good cheap bike? Buying a good bike. I would recommend going on Pink Bike and finding a good, decent, like it depends on your budget, but I would look for a decent hardtail. Will you do more vacation riding trips like Japan? I think so. I really want to go to Tasmania. And one sec. I really want to go to Tasmania. And just because after the EWS went there, I realized how good it was. I didn't realize how good it was until the EWS showed up there. So Tasmania, by the way, is in Australia. It's an island off the south of Australia. I have a couple questions from my patrons, so I'm going to read a few of those. Let's see here. So one of my patrons says, what would be the best time to visit and ride Ladies Only? So Ladies Only is in North Vancouver, and it's a trail with a lot of like woodwork and stuff. When is the best time to ride Lord of the Scrolls and Top of the World, which those are in Whistler. And so Ladies Only, you could probably ride almost all year round. I'd say you could ride it anytime except for maybe between November and February. And then Lord of the Scrolls and Top of the World are like really they're really like alpine trails. So the snow's not going to melt there till like July in most years. So I wouldn't try be there until July. And then once it's all the snow's melted, they're amazing trails. So I would go between July and September to ride those alpine trails in Whistler. And then he also asks, and is there also places for the wife to go shopping? Well, Whistler Village has a ton of places to go shopping. It's actually like I would say there's more tourists than mountain bikers, like in August in high season there. So, all right, let's see. Oh, I can't read your name from Tokyo. I don't know kanji, but welcome. Is the Nomad not enough for Whistler? So far it's been great. Last year I rode my Trek Slash in Whistler, and it was, for me, it's fine. A lot of my friends prefer the downhill bike in Whistler, but for me, I really like riding a trail bike just because it's lighter and it moves a little better. But it's personal preference. Like I see guys riding hardtails in the bike park and things like that. That would be pretty rough. Let's see what else we got here. Jack says Ladies is such a fun trail. Yeah, it's super cool. It's really classic North Shore, like wood bridges and like roller coasters and stuff. It's really good. Enduro hype. Greetings from Germany. Thanks for that. What time is it in Germany? It must be super late. Jack Carlton says, I'm going to do Lord of the Scrolls this summer. Yeah, Lord of the Scrolls is a great trail to ride. I highly recommend it. And there's such a small window to ride it, but it's such like a beautiful like alpine experience. And I would even say, like, if you have a trail bike and you're in Whistler, it's probably better than doing Top of the World. Just because Top of the World is like really rocky and rough, and Lord of the Scrolls is like a lot smoother, and it's just a nicer ride in my opinion. But you have to climb up there on your own, whereas Top of the World you can take the chairlift. How did this shifter situation turn out? So after that live stream, Hayden is my mic. After the live stream, I went to the bike shop and bought a shifter with a normal clamp for the bars, and that was fine. For those that don't know, during the live stream of the bike build, the shifter that I bought was not the right eye spec for my brake levers. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to I wasn't able to complete the bike build on the live stream, but I finished the bike that day though. So it's 4 a.m. in the morning in Germany. Either you've just woken up or you haven't gone to bed yet. Enduro hype. That bike in the back is taunting me. Do you have any specific training plan when you're getting ready for a race, or do you just rely on riding as much as possible? So last year when I did BC Bike Race, it requires a lot of fitness. So for those that don't know, BC Bike Race is a 7-day race, and you have to do at least 50 kilometers, or what is that in miles, like 30 something miles every day, with a ton of elevation in it. So you need to be really fit for this race. So what I did for that race is I really tried to focus on my cardio. And basically the main thing I did was I found a Strava segment in North Van. And every week I would do that Strava segment and force myself to beat the time from the previous week. And most weeks I was able to beat my previous time, just because if you're actually doing that, you're going to get stronger. But a lot of it's just learning how to suffer. Like, you're hammering so hard and you just have to tell yourself that you're not going to stop, because it's so easy to say, no, this is too hard, I'm going to stop. So a lot of it is just learning how to suffer and forcing yourself to do it. Let's see. Could I ride a 140 millimeter bike in the Whistler Bike Park? Yes, you could. Maybe the brake bumps are going to fatigue you earlier than if you had a downhill bike, but you could definitely ride a 140 millimeter trail bike in the bike park. And a lot of those blue trails, like Blueseum, Ninja Cat, Rolly Drops, or what's it called? Anyways, all those blue trails, they're great on like a 140 mil bike. Actually, if you watch Paul the Puncher's video, he's riding a similar bike, or maybe even less travel, and he's just tearing up those trails. So less travel is definitely fine, but you might not be wanting to hit some of the double blacks. I live 2 hours from Mount From, and I was thinking of coming to visit. What trails do you think I should ride? Mount From, depends on your skill level, but I would suggest Seven Secret. That's a good classic trail with like lots of woodwork on it. Espresso is really good. Bobsled's really good. And then if your skill level is a little higher, then Ladies Only is definitely a good one to ride on Mount From. Mount From, by the way, is in North Vancouver. Let's see. Hi, approach. Thank you for your great videos. Thanks, Alberto. Would you ever go to Arizona and experience the bike trails? Yes, I would. I have. I've been to Sedona and it was awesome. Sedona, yeah, is so cool. Especially my favorite trail there was Hangover Trail. That was like one of the best mountain bike rides I've ever had, actually. It's so beautiful there. Yeah, Harlock, Upper Oil Can's great trail. Have you been to Mammoth Mountain before? No, I haven't, and I would love to. Going to Whistler in early August, what trails to hit on the first couple of runs? I'm an intermediate advanced rider. So I always like to warm up on Crank It Up for the jump trails. So that's basically like a pretty easy jump line with no consequences. You can either air over the tables or you can just roll over them. It's a good warm up. And then those blue trails I mentioned earlier, like Ninja Cat and stuff like that. Enduro hype. Did you ever ride a specialized enduro? Yes, I had an enduro 4 years ago. It was a 26er, and that was actually a really good bike. I really love that bike, actually. Here, let me drop back into Patreon and see what those guys are asking. What's your preference in body protection? You ride pretty gnarly stuff, but I only see you wear knee pads, and if it gets really gnarly, a full face instead of a half lid. Yeah, that's right. I find what people wear really depends on where you're from. So in BC, you usually see people, like, if they're on just a trail ride where they're pedaling, they're gonna pedal with just knee pads and a helmet. And in a lot of places, they don't even wear knee pads. So, it would probably be better if I wore more protection, but I guess I'm just comfortable with that, and I don't feel like I fall enough or I hurt myself enough to like wear elbow pads or things like that. Have I visited Colorado? Tag along MTB. Have you visited Colorado? Yes, I have. Before I started the channel, I visited Fruta and Grand Junction, and they were awesome, actually. It was really good. I was kind of on the same trip where I visited Moab. What's the biggest jump on A-line? Says Clark park. I think it's the jump after the rock drop. So if you take the drop and you take a left, there's actually two jumps. There's a small one on the right and the big one on the left. And the big one on the left, I think is probably the biggest one on A-line. Do I have to learn a bunny hop to jump? You don't have to, but it helps a lot. I would recommend learning how to bunny hop before you jump. Just for bike control, and then also when you're bunny hopping off the lip of a jump, you can boost way higher. What's the goal for my channel? To get big, big enough to become independent. So to be able to quit my job and do YouTube full time and live in the van. That's the goal for now. Maybe once I achieve that, I'll have more goals, but yeah, we'll see. Is it worth it to change, Enduro Hype asks, is it worth it to change Shimano SLX 11 gears to SRAM Eagle 12 speed, or is it not really? I would only upgrade once you wear out the current drivetrain. So once your current cassette and chainring and chain are all worn out, I would probably just wait and then upgrade then if you really want to. But even then, like 12 speed, you might not even need it if you have the right size chainring. Carlos Levy, hi. For serious rock gardens, 29 wheels with less travel or 27.5 with more travel on your Nomad? Yeah, that's a good question. I think you could go either way. I guess it's just personal preference, I think, Carlos. Yeah. Like, obviously, like a 29er is going to not fall into the holes. It's going to stay on top of the rocks more. And the 27 is going to go into the rocks more. But the more suspension is going to allow you to just roll through them a lot more smoothly. Have you been to Prince George, BC? Yes, I have. I've been to the one area with, I forget what it was called, but there's this one trail there that has a ton of like ladder bridges and stuff, and it was actually really cool. How's the Shimano SRAM drivetrain working? It's been working not bad. But a friend did tell me that Wolf Tooth Components makes like a little link to put your Shimano derailleur into the correct spot for the SRAM cassette. So I think I might pick that up. It's supposed to improve shifting a little bit, but overall it's been mostly good. It maybe took a little extra time to set up versus a full SRAM drivetrain, but otherwise I think it's been mostly good. Clark, what's your full-time day job? I mentioned that earlier. I'm an artist for a video game company. What do you think about giant bikes, and would you consider them? I would definitely consider giant bikes. For one, they're priced really well compared to a lot of other bike brands, and two, I think they're like really easy to get on and ride. Like, they're not super aggressive bikes. They're not really hard to ride. They're just good, solid bikes. Let's see. Any plans to come to? So I was in Vancouver Island for a day like 2 weeks ago to ride Maple Mountain and Zuhalem, just because my friend was having a party over there. But yeah, I really want to ride Prevost. That was Stevie Smith's favorite place to ride, and I really want to ride Prevost and Duncan on Vancouver Islands. Let's see. Gunnar Naimo, yeah, I want to come to Gunnar Naimo. There's a few people that are recommending some trails to me. Thanks, Outdoor Gold. How often do you meet bears in Whistler? Whistler, if you're going to ride the bike park, I would say you have a 90% chance of seeing a black bear in the bike park. And keep your distance, but they're not scary. They just want to eat the grass. They're basically like cows there. Like, they're just grazing and just having a nice time. How did you meet your wife? Someone on Instagram actually asked that as well. So I met my wife in New Zealand. I was on a road trip through New Zealand, and we met on a hiking trail called the Milford Track. And the Milford Track is a hiking trail on the South Island, and it's the most popular hiking trail in New Zealand. And the way hiking works in New Zealand is that you stay in huts every night. So you book ahead and you stay in the huts. And since this trail is so popular, you can't skip huts. You stay in the same hut every night. So we were both hiking this trail, and every night we'd always meet up and see each other at every hut on the trail. So we got to know each other pretty well. And she worked in a town nearby called Tianau, which she had been working. I don't know. She'd been working in New Zealand for maybe half a year or something. And yeah, we hung out in the town for a while, and I was traveling by van in New Zealand. And I asked, well, do you want to come travel with me in New Zealand? And I guess she liked me enough that she said sure. And she actually quit her job to go travel with me through New Zealand. And then after New Zealand, we went to Thailand for 3 weeks. And then after that, she came over to Canada. And yeah. And then I guess the rest is history. So, yeah. Yeah, the video with her singing on the lift in Japan, that's one of my favorite videos I've ever made. The Fuji 10 video in Japan, I really love that video. It was such a fun day, and we totally didn't expect it because it was raining and or it was like really foggy and wet, but we had such a good time that day. Will M, do you ever do the NSMBA fibers? I did the very first one of the year on From. And I'll try to do more. It's just I'm editing videos every weeknight, and I don't have a lot of time to ride during the week. Mason, I have the best voice of all mountain bike YouTubers. Thanks. I don't know what that means, but I don't think I speak particularly well, but all right. Yeah, thanks. I'm going to check out another patron question here. Paul asks, you wear contacts. Do you have any issues with wearing contacts while you're riding? Because he's considering getting prescription shades or goggles, but they're quite expensive. And yes, I do wear contacts while I ride. But the thing with the contacts is that, for me at least, if I'm riding through dust, the dust just kind of goes on the front of the contact, and then I blink and it just gets wiped away. And for me, that works pretty good. I don't actually ever wear goggles when I ride, even in the bike park, which some people think is crazy. But I have heard some people get like dust or stuff under the contact, and then that's extremely uncomfortable. And I've had that a few times. So what's your worst injury? That's a good question, Clark. So let's see. I don't think... So my worst injury was I broke my scaphoid in the Whistler Bike Park. And so the scaphoid is this, let me see if I can, the scaphoid is this bone right in here, and it's a really small bone. And it happens when you fall with your hands out and you give it a really good smack, and the bone actually snaps in that case, or it gets pulled really hard and it snaps. And so what happened was I was on Slayer, and I think it was maybe the first or second time I was riding the park that season. I didn't remember it all. And the first like 3 drops say drop. And then so I'm going through those drops, and you can actually roll a lot of them. So I'm just taking it easy and rolling through them. And then I get to the drop that just goes right before the chairlift or right under the chairlift. And there's no drop sign at all, and I tried to roll through it, and if you go left, it's actually a drop. And I realized that I came in too fast, but not fast enough to drop it, and I went over the bars, and I probably fell like I don't know, 6-7 feet with my arms like this, and instantly like hit this. I didn't think it was broken though. So I was still able to ride down the gravel road. I was like, oh, I think my day's done. And at the time I actually broke my phone, and I was really upset about my phone for some reason. But the worst part was, yeah, I broke my scaphoid, and I went to the hospital, and they told me it was broken. I was like, what? Really? Are you sure it's broken? And like, yeah, it's broken. And so that sucked a lot, because this bone has a really poor blood supply. And it actually, I had to get a screw put in, and it took 4 months to heal. And this happened right before the BC bike race in 2016. And I wasn't able to do the BC bike race, and I was training so hard for it, and I was so upset that I couldn't race the race because of this stupid injury. So that's why I ended up doing it in 2017, because you're allowed to defer 1 year if you get an injury. So yeah, it was that injury was pretty heartbreaking, and I basically ruined my whole summer just because of this. The bone is literally like this big, and I couldn't ride all summer, and now I've got a titanium screw in here, so really sucked. Okay. Let's see. Any plans of coming to New Zealand in the future? I would love to go back to New Zealand. Rotorua is amazing. The dirt there is amazing. Queenstown is amazing. Craggyburn's amazing. All those places are so good. And I feel like if I'd go to Tasmania, I'd probably stop by New Zealand on the way. Hey, Vertical Justice Biking, how's it going? Let's see. Nomad 4. Nomad 4 versus Slash versus Reckoning. So I don't know the Nomad well enough. I'm still getting used to it. But so far, I think it's a great bike. Between the Slash and Reckoning, I kind of prefer the Reckoning, even though it has that issue. I just feel like it rides better than the Slash. But do you border ski in the Whistler? So I do some backcountry skiing in the Whistler, but I'm really like, unless it's like powder and bluebird, like and blue sky, then that's all I want to do is ride it. Unless it's powder and blue sky, then I'll go ski. But otherwise, I prefer to ride my bike even if the conditions are crap. Like, I really love riding my bike. So can you recommend any anti-fog sunglasses for any weather? So I don't know, but I don't have any experience with riding glasses, but I hear Rider Eyewear makes the best glasses. And they're actually a Vancouver company, but I've heard really good things about their stuff. Have you ever encountered a mountain lion or cougar? I've never encountered a mountain lion, and maybe it's kind of crazy. I would love to see a cougar. I think I would be so excited to see a cougar, but I've never seen one, and I'm pretty sure they've seen me, because they just kind of hide, and they're kind of like, they're cats, right? They just want to like watch you from a distance and attack from behind. So yeah, I don't want to be attacked by one, but I would love to see one. That's for sure. Blue Ridge Trender, $5 super chat. Thanks so much. Blue Ridge Trender, he says, what's going on, man? Who is the most influential person that helps you progress? That's an interesting question. I don't know. I think it's probably just my riding buddies. Like, we're always like trying to one up each other, and like we're always competing against each other. And I feel like just my riding buddies probably have the most influence on me. And we all kind of start at a similar level, and then we're all kind of growing. Like, we're all pretty similar speeds, that kind of thing. So, and every year we're always getting faster, doing bigger jumps and stuff like that. So I feel like my riding buddies are probably the most influential thing. I find like riding with people that are really a lot better, like way too good, they're just gone. Like, there's nothing to learn there. They're just too good to learn from. But Anybody that's just like a little bit better, or just a bit better, you're gonna learn a lot more from than like if you were to follow Greg Menard. Like if Greg Menard were to coach you, that's different. But if you were just to ride with him, maybe that'd be difficult. Thanks for the $5 super chat, Blue Ridge Chunder. I appreciate it. Let me just check the Patreon questions again. Oh yeah, Ben asked if I train. So I already answered that earlier about how I train. Quinn asks, how have you done much on your? Oh yeah, he's asking about my riding history, like, and let's see here. Okay, let's start with my riding history. So, I first started riding mountain bikes when I was a teenager. So I was probably 16, 17 years old, and my parents moved to a mountain, moved to a house that was on a mountain, and we'd always see mountain bikers going in front of the house, and we're like, whoa, what's going on? So we kind of started exploring the trails around our house, and yeah, there's all these amazing mountain bike trails. And I should say the mountain is Ledgeview Mountain in Abbotsford, BC. And so we started taking our like fully rigid mountain bikes with like cantilever brakes and like not a good bikes for riding, but we were still having fun and ton. And then eventually the parents bought us some like actual mountain bikes, like hardtails, but they still had like maybe 2 inches or an inch and a half of travel in the fork and stuff. And yeah, we were getting pretty decent. And then I upgraded my bike to like a Z1 Bomber. Like, do you guys remember those? It's like 4 inches of travel and like tiny little stanchions. So I got one of those, and my bike was like super raked out because it was like way too much fork or for the head angle and stuff. And then after that, I got a job in the games industry when I turned 18. And I just basically said, well, I'm going to do my career now. And I moved to Vancouver and sold my bike. And so stupid because I was moving to Vancouver, like the North Shore. It was like some of the best riding in the world. And I sold my bike because I thought I was going to do my job in video games. And, I had a great time doing my job in video games, but I wish I'd never sold my bike then. So I was not riding for about, I don't know, 15 years, something like that. And then I got back into it maybe in, maybe 2010, something like that, 2011, 2012, something like that. And a friend brought his mountain bike to a picnic that my friends were having in the park. And I'm like, oh, can I try your bike? And I was still able to do like drops and wheelies and stuff on his bike. And I was like, oh, I can still do this. And at the same time, the movie Life Cycles came out. And if you guys have never seen Life Cycles, I recommend it. But it's just this most gorgeous, beautiful movie. And I watched this movie, and it was so good. Like I'm like, this is what mountain biking is now. Like, so I immediately went out and I bought a mountain bike. I used one. I bought a Santa Cruz Bullet with triple crown fork, and it was so heavy, and it was like a size medium. It was too small for me, and the head angle was like almost vertical, and it was crazy. And it was basically the Endo machine, but it got me hooked on the sport again, and I was so in love with it. And basically after that bike, I just kept getting like a new bike every year and a half or something like that, and I was just totally back into it. So now it's been about 6 years since I've gotten back into riding. So let's see. With the World Cup, oh, I see. What's Yuka's favorite cake? Yes, Mr. Tonka. Yes, you spelled Yuka properly. So her favorite. So we always get cakes from this shop called Ganache in downtown Vancouver, and it's like they make all these different kinds of like French cakes, and they're like kind of expensive. They're like $40 cakes, but she's always done Like she's always like, I always make the challenges harder every time. So basically, for people who don't know, what I do is if I wanted to get Yuka to be a stronger rider. Yuka's my wife, by the way. I wanted her to get to be a stronger rider. So I would say, well, if you can climb up that hill without putting your foot down, I'll buy you a cake. And the very first time I offered that to her, she got so motivated, but she didn't do it. But it was in her mind, like, if I haul ass up this hill, I can get a cake out of this. And so now I've given her, like, I don't know, like at least 10 or 12 cakes or something like that. But anyways, her favorite cakes are from this place called Ganache in Yaletown in Vancouver. And they're like these really amazing French cakes. So Vintage Rider, thank you for that. Oh, 1,000 yen super chat. That's awesome. Thank you. Ohio. Oh, I guess it's morning in Japan. Vintage Rider asks, if I spend a whole day in the bike park without crashing, does it mean I haven't pushed myself enough? Do I have to crash to improve? So there's some truth to having to push yourself and end up, like, if you're not crashing, you're not riding hard enough. But at the same time, crashing, if you injure yourself, then you're definitely not going to be improving while you're healing. So I would say if you're in a safe environment, like if it's a low risk situation and you might crash, go for it. But if you're going to fall off a cliff, definitely don't crash. So just judge it on your own. And yeah, I don't crash that often, so maybe that means I'm not pushing hard enough. But at the same time, I know what it's like to be off the bike and not riding. Like, it's the worst ever. I really, like, when I broke my skateboard, like, the depression was real. Like, I was not a happy camper while that was healing. So crash, but do it in a safe environment. Like, don't be bouncing off trees or anything like that. Like, if you're going to do a big jump, do it on a tabletop, or make sure you're not jumping into like a really tiny landing into a sniper landing where you could hit a tree or something like that. So yeah, crashing at bike park speeds, like, yeah, that's kind of scary. Like, crashing on a line or something, you'd be rolling down the trail for a long time. Best tips for beginners, asked Matthew Farrow. Ride on easy trails. Don't, like, if you're coming up to something and you're not sure you can do it, I recommend just walking it and just have it in your mind. Know that it's there. Maybe next time you're going to hit it, but if you're going to start crashing right off the bat, you're not going to have a lot of fun. So just take it easy. Choose easy trails. Ride with people that are near your skill level and work up with them. I would also suggest, like, joining like a club or something where it's all separated into different tiers, like different riding abilities. So I ride with a club called NS Ride, and they have like groups for beginner, intermediate, and then advanced. And then, like, it's great for me and Yuka because I can go ride advanced, Yuka can ride intermediate, and like there's no like conflicts with trail speed or ability or anything like that. So let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna check out some patron questions again. What kind of features make you nervous? Quinn was asking, what kind of features make you nervous? So I used to have big issues with gaps. So like jumps with gaps in them, I always felt like I was gonna just like case them really bad, or just not have the right speed for them. And I've gotten better with that, but it used to be gaps really scared me. If it was the exact same jump but it was a tabletop, no problem, I would just go. But like there's this jump on on Dirt Merchant in the Whistler Bike Park. At the bottom of Dirt Merchant, there's a creek gap, and it's fairly big, but it's no bigger than any other jump on the trail, actually. But it's a gap, and if you cased it, you could either get sent over the bars, or you fall backwards into the creek, or something. It would be a bad situation. But if you're just going trail speed, it's probably going to work. But it's just that mental game where you see there's this gap and you're thinking about what could happen. So, yeah. Yuka, your wife, has she been riding mountain bikes before you met? I only ask because my girlfriend is Chinese and I want her to get into the sport without pushing it on her too hard. So no, she didn't ride before we met. But her very first mountain bike ride was in New Zealand, where we met in Rotorua, and she enjoyed it pretty much right away. And then when we got back to Canada, basically I bought her a bike, because it's really hard to tell somebody that you want to get into mountain biking. Okay, well, now spend $3,000 or something like $2,000 on this mountain bike. They're not going to be super stoked on that. So I bought her first bike, and I started off by taking her to the easiest trails I could find, because North Vancouver, even the easiest trails are still too hard for a complete novice. So I went to a place called the Delta Watershed, and I taught her the basics of riding there. And even there, she crashed still, but she still had fun, and she didn't love it like I did at first. But now she's going for rides on her own with her friends, and she's totally stoked on it. So yeah, but you can't push it too hard. You just be like, do you want to go for a ride today? And if she says no, okay, that's cool, that's fine. But yeah, you can't be like, oh, let's go for a ride. How about you? You can't do that. It's not a good vibe, and you just put her off of it. So tips to learn how to do endo turns. Be careful. Probably do it on grass. So an endo turn is where you basically lock up the front wheel and let the bike rock forward, and then let the bike rotate around. Yeah, I would probably do that on grass and practice on grass, just so you get the feeling right before you start to do it anywhere else. And then just keep working on it. Spend time. Just make sure you're rocking your weight forward. Be ready to jump over the bars if you're going to go over. Yeah. Will M, I was actually thinking of joining Ennis Ride. Do you usually do the Thursday night rides? I usually do. Well, I try to do the Thursday night rides, but it's if I'm editing now on Thursday nights, so you're most likely to see me riding on the weekend rides, where for example last weekend was at Burke Mountain. We were riding with Ennis Ride. Name was taken 360. Well deserved on the 20K milestone. Thanks for keeping it coming. Just noticed your logo is a chain link. Yeah, if nobody's noticed yet, my logo is actually like the chain link of a bike. Yeah, nobody's noticing the chain link in the logo. Yeah. Killer Downhilla. Recommendations for Whistler. Well, start up on Crank It Up. If you can do pretty big jumps, then I would go to A-Line. A-Line is pretty good, pretty safe. It's all tabletops. Yeah, just go have fun. It sounds like you're probably already a pretty good rider, and just figure out the trail system. And I think any trail you go down, you'll have fun on. Any chance to see Yuka-san tonight? Yuka is working right now. She's working till 8. So maybe she'll be at home at 9. Maybe that's probably a little too late. We'll see. Come to Silver Star opening. I really want to go to Silver Star sometime this year, and Sun Peaks. So Silver Star and Sun Peaks are these other bike parks in BC that are not nearly as well known as Whistler, but they're both still very good bike parks and super fun. So I definitely want to make some videos at those bike parks. I have an interesting question. What's your opinion on Chinese carbon bikes, wheels, and parts? I've never actually ridden a Chinese 29 or a Chinese bike, but I have ridden Chinese wheels. So for example, like actually most wheels that you buy like from like Specialized or whatever are made in China or Taiwan. So and I have ridden light bike wheels, and they're great. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them. Let's see. I'm gonna just check the patron questions again. Um, debate. Mark asks, what did I think of riding my Cannondale Lefty? For BC Bike Race last year, I was riding a Cannondale Habit SE, and that was 120 mil in the back and 130 mil in the front. And the interesting thing about Cannondales is that a lot of them come with a lefty fork. So the fork is only on one side. So like if you look at this bike, the fork is only going to be on this side, and this side is completely disappeared. So people get really freaked out by that, and they're not used to seeing that. And I have to say, the lefty fork is really good. It's super stiff, and it looks a bit weird, but I think they're great forks, and there's nothing wrong with them. The only annoying thing with the lefty is that they have needle bearings in them, which is why they're so stiff. But the needle bearings also migrate kind of down the fork. So every once in a while, you have to reset the needle bearings by just like basically taking the air out of the fork and just compressing it and forcing the needle bearings back into the higher position. Let's see. Is a lefty more responsive on the trail? So yeah, because it's so stiff, like you really realize, like you can really feel it on the trail. So the lefties just, I really like them actually. I guess the new one is probably about the same weight as many like a RockShox Revelation or something like that. But the older ones, I guess the complaint was that they're too heavy for the class that they were in. So like if you had a 130 lefty and like a 130 RockShox Sid or something like that, the RockShox would probably be lighter. But I think they've made that new one with the single crown, which is a lot better now. Come ride the Bellingham. Hey Jan, I know about those special trails in Bellingham, and yes, they are very good. Jan, I should call you Jan. Sorry, it's probably Jan. I haven't seen Guy Loam in a long time. Oh, Guillaume. Guy Loam. That's great. I like that. Guy Loam. I'm going to call him Guy Loam from now on. Yeah, his name is Guillaume. And yeah, actually, I'm cutting together where we ride together in Squamish. So he'll be in that video for patrons this week and then for you guys next week. What do I think of hardtails? I used to ride hardtails exclusively when I was a teenager, and I thought they were great, but I haven't had one since, just because I kind of don't want that many bikes. But Luz Waldo, what's up with the van? The van is getting worked on. I just ordered some solar panels for it, which I'm stoked on. We've put some cabinets in. Maybe later, if we have time, I'll show you the van on the live stream. Daniel, yes, I'll come back to New Zealand. Someone asked that earlier. Why not the Hightower LT? I thought the front triangle on the Hightower LT was a bit too short for my personal taste. Yes, BMX. Do you stream every Tuesday night? No, I don't. This is just a special one-off for the 20K subscriber things. Let me just look at the patron questions again. If you had to choose one trail system to ride in BC and be the only and you could only ride that spot for the rest of your life, what would it be? So that's a very tough question. So if you had to ride in one area for the rest of your life in BC, what would it be? And I was thinking about that because he asked this yesterday, and I would say it's hard to say no to Whistler. Like they have the bike park, the Valley trails are so good there, and now they have like Lord of the Squirrels Alpine Trail. And I just heard that they're actually going to extend the trail system, the Alpine trail system, where Lord of the Squirrels is, and they're going to go over more mountain ranges. So it's hard to say no to Whistler. Obviously, there's a lot like Squamish is really good. I really love Nelson, BC. Places on the island are really good, but yeah, it's Whistler's pretty special, and it's the kind of riding I like really technical, rocky riding in the valley, and then obviously the bike park is like all flow and jumps and stuff. So yeah, Whistler's probably, if I had to choose one place, I would ride Whistler. What do you think of the 27.5 plus full suspension bikes? 27.5 plus roll really well. I just think that I've never actually owned one, but I think that the tires, because they have to be so light, they're easy to puncture or rip sidewalls. So I might not get one of those right away, but I've seen basically side-to-side comparisons of them rolling over chunky terrain, and the plus tires roll really, really well. Would you try any trails here in Brazil? Yes, I would definitely go to Brazil to ride. I would love to. Actually, ultimately in the van, it would be amazing if we could drive down to South America and just ride North and South America, Central America, and do all that. That would be a dream of mine if I could do that. That would be amazing. See you later, Mr. Tonka. What does your wife do for work? Says Bearded and Tabir. Yuka is a massage therapist. So that's what she's doing right now, actually. So yeah, she works in Vancouver. Daniel Thompson, I'm not a full-time YouTube star. Yeah, I work in video games. I'm an artist for video games. So I fall usually in a medium. Should I get a size large and higher high tower LT? I think that bike would suit Nanaimo. If the size chart says that you should ride a medium on the Santa Cruz website, you should probably get the medium. Blue Ridge Chunder, what do you think of trails? Why do you think trails are now more geared towards being buffed out versus old school Rocky and Rudy single track? That's a good question. So I think Rocky Rudy single track trails were a lot easier to make, and often they're built by people who are already advanced and really good in the sport. But now that the sport's more inclusive, you'll get like some more like easier blue flow trails, and I still love those trails too. I just like the variety. So yeah, I just think it's just an evolution of the sport as well. Like bikes are getting longer and slacker, and like flow trails are more fun than janky tight trails on those kind of bikes as well. So yeah, but I think you can still find those gnarly Rudy technical trails, and you can also ride those flow trails. So what kind of maintenance do you do regularly on your bike? So yeah, like if it starts creaking, I'll grease up my headset, bottom bracket. For my drivetrain, basically I'll ride it till it's dead, but before every ride, I'm gonna clean it and grease it. Pivots, I generally don't do anything to them unless the bearing's feeling really nasty or they're squeaking or making some kind of noise, then I'll go in there and fix it. But Dan K, what size handlebars do you run? I run 180 millimeter handlebars. Let's see. BC POV video game. Video games are a lot of work to make. Like it's really like it's not like I could just whip one out. They're definitely a lot of work for sure. Like the teams, the average team size, like for like a typical AAA game is going to be at least 100 people these days. And yeah. How do you like Cypress compared to the other Vancouver mountains? Says Karsten Voth. Cypress is probably my favorite North Shore mountain. I wish I rode there a lot more, but the group I ride with, NS Ride, usually rides from or Seymour, and I want to ride with my friends. And then I guess the other thing about Cypress is that the climb is really steep there, so it's tough. But I really, it's probably my favorite of the shore mountains, actually. Matthew Faro, are you into cars? What's your favorite dream car? So yeah, actually, there's another question on Instagram. Are you into any other hobbies? So I actually used to race cars. So I used to race like if you know, it's called a Toyota MR2, and those are like little sports cars with the engine behind the driver. So they're kind of like it's kind of like a cheap man, a poor man's Ferrari or something like that. So with the engine behind you, the corner a little better, and it's better, so better weight distribution, things like that. So I used to race cars. What was my favorite dream car? Well, that Lotus Elise was always like super awesome, which is already very similar to the MR2 in a lot of ways. So Timothy from Singapore, hello, how are you? Willem, do you do art or do you do programming as well? I just do the art in video games. Vokoza, am I saying your name right? I need a new bike for 2,500 to 3,000 euros. What bike should I get? I want enduro. I would definitely recommend the YT Capra. Like those bikes are amazing bang for the buck. And my friend Guillaume and my friend Joey are both riding that 2017 version you mentioned, and they love their bikes. I'd say the only thing against them is that they're maybe a little bit short. But as you can tell, like I like long bikes, as seems to be the theme. But yeah, they love their bikes, and the value for money with YT is amazing. And actually, when that new capper came out, I had already bought this frame, and I was like, oh wow, that capper looks really good, but I already have this frame. So I don't know. Maybe the capper's in my future, maybe next year or something. But yeah. Daniel, yeah, the teams making video games are massive. Like, and 100 people might even be considered small by today's standards. Last question. What kind of trails do you like? Flowy jump trails or rocky steep? Says yes, BMX. I like both. A variety. I love riding everything. Variety is the spice of life for me. Like I definitely I love, for example, in the bike park, I love A-Line, but I also love the super tech like Goat Scully and all that. Like I just want to do everything and I want to be good at everything. So any thoughts of the Alchemy Arctos? So that's have never ridden it. It's pretty interesting. From what I understand, the designer from Yeti went over and started his own company called Alchemy, if I recall correctly, and he built a bike that looks a lot like a Yeti. So, but apparently they're good bikes. I'm not that familiar with them though. Transition Volkoza is asking about transition versus Capra. Transition makes really good bikes, and they're just down in Bellingham, which is really close to here. So, yeah. Let's see. I want to do a mountain bike road trip from Northern California to Canada and then back for 10 days. What are the best places to stop and spend the most time at? So Northern California, so I would definitely, so there's this, I don't know that much in Oregon, but there's this place called Black Rock. And they have really cool trails there. And it's just a small little zone, but they built like these amazing jump trails with big drops. I would definitely stop there. I don't know that much in Washington, but I would stop at Tiger Mountain. That's really good city, or that's really good trails. And then also Falls City, which is right near Tiger Mountain. Those are super fun trails as well. And then, without a doubt, stop in Bellingham, Washington. The trails in Bellingham are unreal. And then, yeah, if you're coming into BC, I'd probably check out the shore. Squamish is a must-do. Ride the Alice Lake area in Squamish and ride those slab trails. They're very unique, and you don't get those in many places. And then obviously go ride the bike park in Whistler. If you're going to spend more time in BC, I would suggest like Kamloops has great riding. Kelowna has great riding. Nelson has great riding. Fernie. I think anywhere in southern BC, you're going to find a ton of riding and you're going to have a great time. So, Renzo, any updates in the van build? Maybe I'll take you guys out there and I'll show you the van at the end of the live stream. I missed an hour or so stream. 0 bytes. Yeah, I did answer that. The Nomad's great in Whistler. I kind of prefer trail bikes over downhill bikes in the bike park. Timothy, you did your first mountain bike ride on your new bike yesterday. That's awesome. New bike day is the best day. I love new bike day. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, let me just check the patron questions again. What inspired you to get into mountain biking and to keep the urge to progress and get better and better? So I did tell this story earlier about how I got into mountain biking. So what about my urge to get better and better? I think I'm just a competitive person naturally. So I was mentioning my buddies earlier, and they're all about the same level, and we're always really competitive. Like especially if you go to the races, we always like want to beat each other and stuff. So yeah, I'm just kind of like a person that always wants to like up my game and improve. So I improve at a decent rate, but some people are just like, they just seem to pick it up like that just naturally. So yeah. What's a good tire for the Pacific Northwest? So I always run a Magic Mary on the front. I really like the Magic Mary. On the back, I just started running the E13 TRS-R, and that's a great tire. I really like that tire. Super fast rolling tire, but it has these massive side knobs, and they're super grippy. So far, it's been a great tire. NNJ3K, have you lost any fitness that you had from BC bike race or BC X race? Yes, I've lost a lot of fitness since then, actually, and that's just because I'm so busy with the channel and building the van. Like, it used to be that I would ride both days every weekend and then during weeknights as well. But now I'm editing during weeknights, and then on the weekend I'll try to fit one ride in, and then the rest is working on the van. So I've lost a lot of fitness since then. I can still pedal. I'm still fairly strong, but if I was to do a BC bike race again right now, I would be slower for sure. All right. Thanks, Blue Ridge Thunder. I'll talk to you later. After you finish your band, will you have? We'll see about that, Carlos. Yeah. Congrats on. Do you have any interest in Mega Avalanche or know anybody that has done it? I don't know anybody who's done it. I definitely have interest in doing that race. That looks bonkers. It's a massive descent. I would love to do Mega Avalanche. Have you ever been to the Yukon? I would love to go to the Yukon. That's probably either hopefully next year I can get up to Yukon. It looks really cool up there. I have ridden Laguna. Kyle asked, "Come ride Laguna Beach." I have actually ridden Laguna Beach, and it's pretty sweet. Actually, there's a couple gnarly secret lines in there that I really enjoyed. What type of riding is the Nomad best known for? It's a pretty big travel bike, so more like enduro racing. It's almost like a bike park bike. Like it has a lot of travel, so yeah, it's almost like a free ride bike, maybe. Yeah. I just noticed you're wearing my T-shirt. Really? Did you order? Oh yeah. I want to be a patron, but since I'm young, I need my mom's authorization. That's cool, man. No need to especially if you're young. No need to become a patron straight away. Will you check out the XTR line, the new XTR line? That's kind of interesting, but I feel like they have that new free hub standard on the XTR cassette there, and no wheel makers are making that except for DT. So I feel like that's kind of limiting for now. But once that changes, maybe I'd be interested in. The cassette looks a lot better than it has been in the past. Will there be any way you'll sell merch? Yes. Here, I'll type it in. So if you go to teespring.com/bcpov, that's where you can buy my shirt. Let me just type that in. One second. I'm just going to post it in the chat for you guys. Actually, it might be in the description as well. There's the Teespring link. Yeah, that did confuse me, Daniel. Oh, the new Shimano free hub is supposed to be silent. I did not know that. That's pretty sweet, actually. Would you recommend riding in Queenstown? Yes, I would recommend riding Queenstown and ride Rude Rock because that's probably one of the best trails I've ever ridden. Did you try Ryan's Evil Link? What were your thoughts? So I tried it just on the climb, and it really climbs. Like the riding position felt like an XC bike. I was actually really surprised. I never tried on the downhill though. So Fox versus RockShox. So I have a slight bias towards Fox right now, just because I've had some warranty issues with my last RockShox. But in the past, I preferred RockShox because my Fox sucks. So I just kind of go back and forth. Like some years the Fox is worse, or some years the RockShox is worse. So it depends. And if I warranty something, it takes like 2 months. So I basically have to buy a new fork, and then once the old one comes back, I'll sell the old one. So. Have you ever tried dual crown full suspension bike? Yes. So I used to own a Specialized demo, and yeah, dual crown is pretty good. I just like the trail bike a little better. Let's see. Calvin, so I'm just looking at the patron questions. Calvin Cox asks, when did you first realize brown sugar mini wheats was the one for you? Was it love at first sight, or did they grow on you? So, in case you guys missed it, during my live stream of the bike build in the kitchen, people noticed all these mini wheat boxes up on the fridge, and people were just freaking out about the mini wheats. So Yeah, I really like mini wheats, and there was a lot of the boxes. And actually, I actually brought a couple mini wheat boxes. I just gotta support my sponsors here for mini wheats. So yeah. Let me see. Let's ask some more questions. Check out some more questions. Sylvan Picard asked, last year you did the BC bike race. Are you planning to do any more XC races, or are you focusing more on Enduro this year? So I'm not going to be doing any more XC races this year, but I would like to do some in the following year. I just don't feel like my fitness is good enough, and I'm too busy like with the band and stuff. So, and even I'm racing less Enduro races this year just because of the van. But I am going to do the Challenger Enduro in Whistler, which is basically the same race as the EWS, just with maybe a few less stages. And then I think I may go to Panorama and do the Canadian Enduro race there. Isaac Kaman, how is the veteran Enduro? Was watching for you. Currently, I'm injured, so I couldn't race. Super jealous. Yeah, the conditions so Vetter Mountain is a mountain in Chilliwack, BC. It's about an hour and a half drive from Vancouver, and actually the trails are really, really good there, and the conditions were really good that day. It was super fun. The only thing about that day was it was extremely hot. It was like 35 Celsius. What's that in Fahrenheit? 35 C2F. So that was like 95 Fahrenheit. So it was super hot that day. And I was definitely feeling it. As I mentioned earlier, my fitness is not that great. So, yeah. So yeah, let's see. So let's check out some more questions on the Patreon. Okay, Akihiro. He already asked. He's a vintage rider, I believe. What's your opinion on neck braces? I mostly ride park. Should I wear one? So, yes, I do recommend wearing a neck brace. And I actually own one. And if I'm not filming, I'm wearing it. But if I'm filming, I'm not wearing the neck brace because the gimbal interferes with the neck brace, and it kind of sucks. But right now, the priority was to be able to film the bike park, and at the sacrifice of a little bit of safety. So, yeah, I would recommend getting a neck brace. My wife Yuka, she did actually break her neck once mountain biking on Mount Seymour. It was not a bad break or anything, but like it made me realize that, yeah, if you break your neck and you're paralyzed for the rest of your life is not going to be the same anymore. So I definitely recommend wearing a neck brace. Have you ever tried or ridden a Anole? No, I haven't. I would try one. I'm kind of curious about them. But I feel like they're a little bit boutique. Like they're a smaller brand, and I'm a little bit worried about reliability because I used to ride Yeti, and especially a while ago when they were a smaller brand, and I broke a few of those bikes, and it's kind of like I just want a really reliable bike. So, and I'm not saying Noles are unreliable or anything like that. It's just I'm a little bit weary of more boutique brands. So, Fifth Horseman. So Kyle Lafaus. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right, Kyle. Fifth Horseman is a trail on Cypress Mountain in North Shore, and it's a super gnarly trail, but it's a really good trail. I should do a video of Fifth Horseman, actually. I have a good friend. He rides Cypress all the time. That's all he wants to ride. So I should do a video with him. His name is Mattis, and he's I would love to follow him down Fifth Horseman. He's good. Would you recommend knee pads if you're mainly doing intermediate trails? So it's more about your skill level and not the difficulty of the trail. So if you're a beginner rider riding intermediate trails, I recommend wearing knee pads because you're not going to be used to riding a bike yet, and you could still fall. So yeah, I would wear knee pads. If you're like an advanced rider and you're riding intermediate trails, then yeah, maybe you don't need to wear knee pads. But obviously, it's your choice. You can do what you want, but I would recommend probably just erring on the safe side and just getting some knee pads. How many bikes have I broke? I think it was the Yetis. So I broke 2 Yeti SB66s, both in the same spot. And then the main pivot on the slash. Let's see here. Any merit to that thinking because I'm a bigger dude, 225 pounds. I should be looking at trail bikes with slightly longer travel. Yeah, I think that's probably a good way to go. So he basically is asking, since he weighs a bit more than maybe the average person, maybe getting a bike with a little more travel. That's probably a good idea. Generally, bikes with shorter travel are also built lighter in general. They're not as stout. So buying more of a bike on the Enduro end is going to be a stronger bike, and it's possible that it might be just a better choice. What do you think of the price of bikes these days? What do you think is more rational between the hardtail and a full suspension alloy? So, for example, a Santa Cruz Comedian, Canyon Spectral. Yeah, I would get like a YT or Canyon because a lot of bikes are really expensive, and those YTs are really good bikes. I think the Canyons are probably really good bikes. So yeah. What's the most overrated trail you've ever ridden? That's an interesting question. I don't know. I don't think I can answer that one. I think I like most trails. I think, yeah, I don't know. And for the neck braces, you have to use GoPro. You don't want to run. Okay. What does POV mean? Oh, that's a good question. So actually, my dad didn't know what POV meant either. POV means point of view. So basically, when I'm riding, you see my point of view of the trail. So, yeah. So British Columbia, point of view. Yes, I have heard of the brand Gorilla Gravity out of Colorado. I don't know too much about their bikes, though. Would Yuka tolerate you filming a series on one of her races? It would be fun to see her. So actually, I think Yuka has agreed to wear a camera at some point on a ride. So I think we'll probably do that. So yeah, I think I think we'll probably see a ride with Yuka with us filming from her perspective, I think. So I guess the mini wheats are a meme now. How many boxes do you go through a week? I don't know. Maybe a bag, maybe a box every 2 weeks. So speaking of mini wheats, let's just up the ante here. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Let's see. Do you have any tips for someone who wants to learn to take bigger jumps? Work up to them and jump on tabletops. Going to a bike park with jump line. I would definitely just bike parks are really good for learning to jump. Also, the smaller skill parks with jumps. But bike parks, they'll generally have like Whistler will have like a crank it up with smaller jumps, and then a crank it up more with more medium-sized jumps. Then you get to A-line, get a little bigger, and then you get to like Dirt Merchant, and they get a lot bigger. And yeah, bike parks are a great way to learn how to jump. What's your favorite kind of cheese? Let's let's say Gouda because my parents are Dutch. Have you been back to the hardest trail in the world? Nope. And I'm definitely going to go back this summer, and I'm going to probably ride it more than once, and I'm going to figure that damn thing out, and I'm going to conquer that trail, or at least most of it. Let's see. Shimano versus SRAM. Shimano brakes for sure. SRAM cassettes and drivetrain. I'm still figuring out this Shimano derailleur and shifter, but yeah. Maybe slight bias on SRAM in general, but we'll see. Are you sponsored by Mini Wheats? I wish I was, but I'm not. Okay, another Mini Wheat mentioned. All right, let's just bump this up a little more. There we go. So tasty. All right, let's check out some patron questions here. Oh, I think we got through all the patron questions. Let's check out. There's a few questions on my community page. Have you ever ridden in Cumberland, on Vancouver Island before? Yes, I have. Cumberland on Vancouver Island is really awesome, and I recommend everybody ride there. It's really good. How did you go about learning to jump? I spent a lot of time not jumping properly and then eventually figuring it out. Yeah, jumps are kind of tricky. But once you get the feeling, then it all starts to come together and you start to advance quickly. But if you're scared, you're just going to do all the wrong things. So it can be a bit tricky to jump. Let's see here. Can you please do a budget bike video and push it to the limit? Oh, do you mean like getting a Walmart bike and riding it in the Whistler Bike Park? That has been on my mind. I might do that kind of video. I'm also afraid of personal injury because, like, yes, riding a bike that's not designed for the bike park in the bike park is, could end in tears. So, let's see. Yes, I would love to have a Mini Wheats sponsor. Okay, now everybody keeps mentioning Mini Wheats. Let's add a little more to the pile. All right. Gnarliest trail in BC. That's a good question. The hardest trail in the world is pretty up there. Gargamel's pretty gnar. Fifth Horseman on Cypress is pretty gnar. But I can't think of too much that are crazier. Jack the Ripper is pretty gnar. What else? There's a couple lines in Pemberton that are pretty legit, but yeah. Please don't die on a Walmart. Yeah, I don't want to die on a Walmart bike. ABCPOV, do you think I can ride my 130 millimeter full suspension in the Whistler Bike Park? Easy does it in Beeline. Yes, you definitely can. You can probably do even harder trails than that if you're ready for it. Let's see. Have you ridden in Colorado before? Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. I've ridden in Fruta and Grand Junction. More Mini Wheats. All right, we got one more box of Mini Wheats. Here we go. All right, talk to you later, old mountain biker. Let's see. Ryan McFarland asks, of all the YouTube mountain bikers, who has impressed you the most, whether you've ridden with them or not? So I would say skills-wise, skills wise. Skills with Phil is very, very good. Like, he used to race World Cup downhill races. He's very good. And like, his personality maybe does not reflect that because he's such a fun-loving, like, happy guy, but he is a very, very good rider. And then also Jeff Kendall Weed is amazing, an amazing rider. So I've ridden with Skills with Phil before, but I've not ridden with Jeff, even though he's just down in Bellingham. I'm sure it'll happen soon. But Jeff is a really good rider. And if you've seen that video, like any video you watch with him, you're like, wow, he's really good. But then he came out with a video where he rides the North Shore Trail, a trail that I actually know ladies only. And he just blew my mind. He basically blew what I thought of that trail apart. Like, he showed us completely new lines that I never considered on that trail. He is very good. So actually, in the last live stream, it was suggested that Skills with Phil and Jeff Kendall Weed should do a video where they play a game of bike, and they try to one up each other with various bike tricks and stuff. That would be really interesting to watch. I feel like Phil has more like goofy like bike tricks, like pedal spins and more just like clown tricks, and Jeff is I don't know. Jeff is maybe more of a rider's rider, and Phil is like also a rider's rider, but also has like all these crazy tricks that he can do as well. So yeah, both amazing riders. Let's see. Walmart bike thing has been done too many times. I would rather see two of the exact, one with the cheapest spec and one with the most expensive spec. That's an interesting idea, Adam. So I need to find somebody that will loan me those two different bikes, and so I can compare them side to side, because that's obviously a lot more expensive than just buying a Walmart bike. You should get a bunch of BC YouTubers together and do a budget bike challenge, like top. That's a great idea, actually. I've been wanting to do like some kind of Top Gear-esque challenge where like either we do like a race, like in Top Gear they do train versus car or something like that. It would be interesting to do something like that with mountain bikes. But actually, I like your idea even better, where we do a budget bike challenge. And yeah, that sounds really fun. Have I ridden in Nebraska? No, I have not ridden in Nebraska. I probably should ride in Nebraska sometimes. Justin Carlson, whereabouts are you in Poco? I don't live in Poco. I live in Vancouver. Yeah, Nate Hills is very good as well. Yeah, he's definitely up there in the YouTube game. What was your first ever real mountain bike? My first ever real mountain bike was a Kona Nunu, and it was a hardtail. It had like probably like an inch and a half of travel on the fork. It was bright yellow, and it was rad. The best bike is the bike you have. Do you own a dirt jumper? Have you ever been to Steve Smith Bike Park in Nanaimo? I would love to go to Steve Smith Bike Park in Nanaimo, and I'm probably going to go to the island later this summer. So I'll definitely check it out. And I don't own a dirt jumper. I would love to, but with the van, probably can only own one bike at a time. What's my dream car? A Ford Transit camper van. That's my dream car right now. Let's see. Some more questions on the community tab. Do you do anything to stay in shape besides biking? So no, I don't. When I was injured, I went to the gym to kind of stay in shape, but I absolutely hate being at the gym. Like, I would way rather spend in the snow and rain than in a gym with a TV. Like, I did not enjoy the gym at all. Talk to you later, Dan. Are you doing any special storage system with the bikes, or are you just putting it? So yeah, well, I don't know if you've seen the video, but I have this sliding out tray rack. That's how the bikes are being stored in the van. Would you go back to Yeti as a bike? I'm not sure if I would go back to Yeti after I broke my. So I had two SB66s and they both broke. I'm a little cautious, and I've heard of other ones breaking as well. So vertical justice mountain biking. Thanks, Box and Mini. We eat some vertical justice mountain biking. Thank you very much. That's perfect. Thank you. Oh man, that was awesome. Thank you very much, Vertical Justice. Justin Carlson, you plan on riding the Kootenay area anytime soon? Yes, I really want to go to Nelson, BC, and Panorama for the race. Probably ride a lot more stuff around there as well. Just not sure when exactly I'll be in the Kootenays. So just for people that don't know, the Kootenays are kind of eastern BC, and there's a lot of fantastic riding over there. So yeah, I'm coming to Vancouver Island sometime. I'm not sure exactly when, but I'm coming. Let's see. Some more questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, just how impressive are IFHT's videos? I give them a 9 out of 10. And actually, Jason has kind of become a friend of mine, and I hope 9 is good enough for him. Yeah, IFHT, they make amazing videos, and if one drops, I'm watching it right away. I love their videos. And also, they've got their Whistler Bike Park edit coming out sometime soon, and I can't wait to watch that one. Jump 8 MTV, thank you for the mini wheats fund. Love it. That'll definitely buy me at least 2 boxes of mini wheats. Thank you very much. All right, talk to you later, Isaac Haman. I'll see you next time. You mentioned the camera is good, but any thoughts on the TRS inner width of the rim? Any thought? So the TRS is a great tire. I think it fits on a lot of modern bicycle rims or mountain bike rims. So mine is an internal width of 27 mil, and it seems to work great. Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to put it on most mountain bike rims, actually. Any thoughts on press fit BB? Yeah, I don't like press fit BBs. They creak like high hell. I don't like them at all. So threaded, I'm super happy with. Obviously, press fit BBs work. They do the job, but I find they do creak. So, thank you, Vintage Rider. He sent Kellogg's link of my stream. Thank you very much. Tactical mini wheat. Not the best at mid-air control. Any tips? So are you like dead sailoring or getting bucked? If you're getting bucked, I would slow down your rebound on if you're riding a dual suspension bike. Also, when you're jumping off the lip, make sure you're not trying to pick up the back end. Like push into lip all the way off the lip. If you're thinking about doing a manual, so if you're manualing and then so if you're manualing and then you're going to manual over a stick, what a lot of people want to do is they'll manual and they want to pick up the back end to get over the stick, right? That's kind of what you're doing wrong when you're jumping. So when you're manualing, make sure you manual straight into the stick instead of. So that's a way to practice, right? So put a stick on the ground, manual, and make sure you're manualing into the stick without picking it up. And you're going to want to do the same thing off the jump. I think GNBN has a really good I'm sure they have like 5 videos about it, but yeah, I think I saw a fairly recent one a few months ago where they're showing the stick trick, and it's actually a really good trick. Yeah, don't break into a jump because you're gonna unsettle the bike. Like the nose is gonna dive. Yeah. MTB Trail Magic. Congrats on the 20K. Thank you very much. Super stoked on that. Thanks for all the congrats on the 20K. I would pay to watch anybody riding an XC bike at Whistler. Yeah, maybe that should be my viral videos, riding like a fully rigid at Whistler. Let's check out some more questions in the community tab here. What's your favorite part about making YouTube videos? So obviously the riding part of it is pretty rad. Like I love riding my bike, but also just the feedback I get from you guys, the fact that you guys like the videos and comment, and the fact that we can have these chats, like it's awesome. I really enjoy that community vibe. So, what's top on your list of travel destinations? Says Jonas Banta. Top on my list. So Tasmania, as I mentioned earlier. I'd love to go back to New Zealand. But while we had the van, I really want to tour around North America and Central America, maybe South America. So, yeah. And then very immediately, I really want to go to Nelson this summer. Are you going to go for a ride on Brook soon? I just rode there last weekend, and it was good. Let's see. Let's see. I'm just gonna maybe answer a few more questions, and maybe we'll go out and check out the van. What do you guys think? My favorite moments in mountain biking. That Luke is asking what my favorite moment in mountain biking is. So one of my favorite moments is when Steve Smith won World Champs. When that famous run by Danny Hart in the wet. What else? Almost any Red Bull Rampage. Yeah. Let's see. So what do you guys think? Do you guys want to see the van? Oh yeah, Aaron Gwynn's chainless run is really awesome. Actually, that was, and Nico Molly's as well. Hello from Japan. How are you? Okay. Let's see. I'm just gonna turn my screen rotation on. I gotta send a link to this live stream to my phone. And then I can walk outside, I believe. Send this to my phone. Open this up. You might hear 2 voices at the same time. And then I have to join the video. Proceed. Now is that working? I think so. There's a bit of an echo. Let's turn this down. Okay. Let's go to the van. Oh, I need the keys for the van. Oh, maybe Yuka's in there already. I don't know if she wants to be in the live stream. Let's see. Oh, maybe she's not. Okay. So I can't see the chat right now, but let's see if we can show you guys the van. It's getting a little dark out here. So there's the van. Let's open her up. Oh, it's still locked. So, as you can see, we've got some countertops. I think I showed this stuff in a previous live stream. So we've got these countertops now. I took these. I had a sink and stove out. We just took them out just because we're still working on things. We've installed these cabinets up here, which I spent a bunch of time on. The roof got taken out just because we're putting the lights in now. So it's all insulation right now. So yeah, that's where the van's at now. We obviously, maybe some of you know, we got these window frames now. And yeah. By the way, I can't see the chat right now, I don't think, but yeah. So yeah, the van is coming along. And yeah, we're slowly putting it together. So yeah, and maybe I'll just show the back quick. And then there's the back. You can see the cabinets on the left here. And yeah, they're going to be more of like dividers, and it's going to be doors. All these cabinets are going to have doors in front of them, or like, you know, like a opening and closing, locking situation. And then yeah, we got the bike tray here. Let me just open the bike tray here. Yeah. So the bike tray, someone was asking about that earlier. The bike tray slides out, and then you can push it in. So yeah, just a little mini van tour for you guys. And then I'll head back inside. Just lock the van. So I can't see the chat right now, just so you guys know, but I'll get to your messages in a second. So yeah, the van is slowly coming along, maybe a little slower than I'd like, but yeah, sometimes it's tricky to do. And it's a lot of learning for us as well, actually, so yeah. So yeah, I'll just do that. Oh, a super chat. Northwest Trail Series, loving your channel. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Northwest Trail Series. Awesome. Thank you very much for that super chat. Cool. Yeah, so maybe we'll end that live stream now. If any of you guys have any more questions, maybe now's the time to ask. I forget if you're staying in it full time. So eventually we're going to stay in the van full time. But yeah, no, I still have a place I'm staying right now. Eventually, I think we'll probably be spending a lot of time in Whistler or other places in BC. So we'll just park it wherever we want and sleep at those places. So yeah. Timothy says, I love the bike slide thing. Yeah, I love it too, actually. Like, I saw it online. There's a blog called Far Out Ride, and they document their whole van build, and they also show how to build that sliding bike tray. So it's super handy. How am I going to fit all my mini wheats in there? Oh, I might not have 6 boxes of mini wheats in there, but I'm definitely going to try. It's a pretty big van, so yeah. How do you make time for work, riding, YouTube, and Yuka, and now the van? Yeah, it's a good question. I'm so slammed right now. Like, and to be honest, it's been cutting into my riding. Like last time this year, I would have been riding at least 3 or 4 days a week, and now it's down to 1 day a week. But hopefully, when we get the van done, it'll be back up to like 4 or 5 days a week. So, yeah, we'll see. Let's see. Plenty of storage for mini wheat boxes. Yeah, yeah. Well, we're gonna have to fit our whole lives in there, so there's gonna have to be space for more than just mini wheats in there for sure. Thanks, Grant. Yeah, I'm super stoked in the van. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be pretty sweet once we're finished. But yeah, it's a lot of work. And Yuka has given me an ultimatum that we have to finish it by the end of next month. I don't know if it's even possible, but it's I feel like it's getting closer and closer every time we work on it. So yeah. Jackson Dean, come do shuttle laps on Cyprus with me. Yeah, well, maybe we'll see you out there sometime because there's a lot of times you'll see people in the parking lot. And if you ever see me, just say hi. And yeah, we'll do a lap. And if any of you see me, actually, I've got stickers. And yeah, I'll just hand you a couple stickers if you want some. Karen, thank you. Yeah, I'm super stoked on 20K. It's been a long time coming, but I feel like the channel's like started to really grow a lot faster now, so I'm really stoked. When am I coming to Colorado? I feel like that might be a next year thing, I think. MTV Trail Magic, do you use any ribbon protection in your tires like crush core, etc.? So yeah, during the live stream of this bike build, I put in a Huck Norris, and that so far it's been good. I only have like 3 rides on the bike right now, but so far so good. So yeah. New stuff, man. Love stuff you do. You seem like an honest dude. Thank you very much, Bearded Mountain Biker. Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty honest, dude. Like I don't want to like exaggerate or like put on a show. I'm not an actor. I just want to, be me and say what I think, So yeah. Ezekiel, how's it going, Ezekiel? I just tuned in. Congratulations on 20,000 subs. Love your vids. Thank you very much, Ezekiel. What do you pour in those mini wheats? What do we do? I think we do. I got out flack for this last time. We do 1% on the mini wheats. So, make of it what you will. But yeah, 1% is fine. Thank you for doing the stream. Great way to connect with you and ask questions. Thanks. Thank you very much. I hope I'll be at 50K soon. That would be fantastic. What do you think of Whistler working with a soil scientist? Oh, I don't know what that. I have no idea what that. Is that what they're doing? Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe they'll be able to keep more moisture in the trail so they don't get so blown out. I don't know. I don't know what their goal is with that. How long have I been riding for? I think I've been riding for about 6 or 7 years, maybe. I haven't actually counted up because there's a big gap because I rode as a teenager. So, yeah. Yeah. So maybe I'll just see if I can hunt down a few more questions, and then that'll be it. Maybe. Let's see. If you could get any one bike for free, what would it be? I don't know. Santa Cruz Nomad. It would have been nicer to get that for free than to have to pay for it. Let's see what else we got here. Why do XC riders wear Lycra? Why does anyone wear Lycra? It's so they can go faster. It's more aerodynamic, but it's also not as cool. I gotta do whole milk. Yeah, I could probably go up to 2% at least. Mm. I'm moving out to Whistler very soon. What trail should I first hit when you arrive? Well, I would recommend crank it up and then A-line, but only if you can handle the jumps on A-line. Let's see what else. Yeah, maybe a couple Instagram ones. Let's see. What would your dream day mountain biking be? Actually, I really want to ride Ritalik in Nelson, BC. So for those that don't know, Ritalik is like a mountain bike resort, and it's like a really exclusive one. It's quite expensive, but they do lodging and food, and they also do a heli drop, which is like apparently the trails there are some of the best in the world from what I hear. So I hear they're really, really good. Do you have any other bikes in mind when you got the Nomad? No, but I did mention earlier that when I got the Nomad, that new YT Capra came out, and I was like, "Oh wow, that bike looks fantastic!" And I probably would have considered it had I not got the Nomad, actually. So, yeah, we'll see. Crawford, you're going to be on A-line. Yeah, sounds good. I'll probably be in the bike park a lot this summer as well. Let's see. Do I film every? So this is on Instagram, MTBAZ. Do I film every ride? No, I don't. So I often have too much footage to edit, so I often don't take the camera, just because it's I just don't need that extra footage to deal with. So I tend to just film the rides that I think are going to be interesting rides for you guys to watch. Would you ever do tutorials like Seth's bike hacks? I think I could do tutorials like that. I feel like there's a few videos I need to get up first, like my camera setup. People really want to know about that. I should really do a what's in my backpack video. I feel like people would be really into that as well. So, yeah. Let's see. What else we got? Jeff Kendall Reed says, "How much wood would a woodchuck wood? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?" I don't know the answer to that question. My favorite mini wheats flavor is obviously brown sugar mini wheats. It's really the only one to get. Oh yeah, and other people really want to know about so GoPro settings. Basically, I use Jordan Boostmaster's GoPro settings. So I highly recommend watching, if you're interested in GoPro settings, watching his video on GoPro settings. Actually, the Lone Ranger just made a video on GoPro settings and then grading the video after as well. What's your long-term channel for the long-term plan for the channel? Says Adam Woodbury. So the long-term plan is to make it full-time, and there's still a bit of a ways to go with that. But yeah, I'd really like to make it full-time and just focus on just growing the channel. And yeah, and then beyond that, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, if I can just make in my life where I can ride my bike and make videos, I think that'd be sweet. All right, talk to you later, bearded mountain biker. When you ride without the camera, do you still catch yourself talking out loud still? It's a good question. No, I don't talk out loud still, but my friends say I make more noises when I ride now. One thing I did hear is from Jason from IFHT, he went to film BKXC and Seth, and Brian was not filming that day, but he was still talking the same way down the trails than he normally does. So, yeah. Cheers, cheers all. Vancam, Mini Wheats collab. Yeah, I'd love to do Mini Wheats collab. Call me up, Kellogg's. I'm pretty sure you need to be like Wayne Gretzky or something to get on the Mini Wheats box or whatever. But Shan asks, what do you do besides YouTube? So I mentioned before I work in video games and I'm an artist for video games. If I order a BC POV t-shirt, could you autograph it? That's an interesting question. So I order shirts through a site called Teespring, and they just make the shirt and send it straight to you. So it would never even get to me. So I would have to order it myself and then send it to you. But I don't even know, like my autograph is really ugly, Zico. It's a really, I'd have to like invent like an autograph, something like that. But are you going to go to World Champs in Switzerland? No, I'm not going to go to World Champs in Switzerland. But next year, World Champs are in Quebec, in Canada. So I might go there. Daily mountain bike rider, what's the best place you've ever ridden in all of BC? Yeah, that was so. And I had a similar question earlier. If you had to ride one place anywhere in BC for the rest of your life, what would it be? And my answer was Whistler. Just because they have a little bit of everything there. So I'd probably have to say that. But, you know, it's such a hard question because BC has so much good riding. Kik Jui, good morning from Germany. Good morning. How are you? It's still very early there. It's much earlier than I wake up. Do you change the PSA in your tire for different trails? Not really. I kind of run one. So what I'll do is like in different conditions, I'll change the tire. So if it's more muddy, I might run less pressure. If it's snow, I'm going to run a lot less pressure in the snow. But for different trails, I don't really think about it too much. If the trail is going to be really rocky, yeah, then maybe I'm going to bump up the pressure a little bit because I just don't want any pinch flats or whatever. So, yeah. Rivka Z. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. I'm sorry. How are you? How's it going? All right, guys. I think maybe that might be it for this live stream. That's awesome. You're having breakfast. What's tapas? I have no idea what tapas is. How tired am I right now? I think we've been going for 2 hours. Maybe it's probably enough by now. I have to look up tapas though. Oh, is that mini wheats? Is that the German version of mini wheats? Am I Googled tapas and it just kind of came up with mini wheats, so it's got to be. Cool. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Great hanging out with you. Thanks so much for liking, subscribing, commenting on my videos, joining the chat. I couldn't do it without any of you guys. The fact that 20,000 of you have subscribed to my channel is pretty amazing. And I super appreciate all of you. And yeah, please keep watching my videos. Please comment, keep commenting, keep liking, and let's keep growing this thing. Yeah, you guys are kind of making the dream become my reality. So thank you. Do you still ride with Jonathan? Yes, I still ride with Jonathan. He's got some kids now, but so he doesn't ride as much. Okay, guys, I'll talk later. Yep, see you in Kamloops. Gotta find the stop broadcast. All right, see you guys. Bye.